Alright, this is my midsummer update to the garden soil videos. And if you recall from those videos, I said that I didn't think things would grow very well. Some things have, some things haven't. The deep-rooted crops, my tomatoes and various squashes down on this end, have grown in pretty well. You can see that tomatoes just pretty big. We had an unusual spring. We had a hot time and then it cooled off and then it was back hot again, so we didn't have a slow warm up as usual. So right here in front of me I planted 3 rows of 6 crops, which I split down about here, and only a few of those root crops came up. And the reason for that is probably that they may have sprouted, but because most of this top material has become more like a mulch. A lot of the woody materials, the pine needles and everything, are kind of make up most of the top inch or two now. And if you recall, when I mixed this all up, it was fairly well mixed, but as the water has gone through this material, it's taken the smaller particles and moved them down towards the bottom, leaving a lot of the top particles. And this bed has gone down in volume, I would say 2 to 3 inches. So the worms and everything have been chewing everything down, and it's actually moist underneath. And this top layer, like I said, is primarily, it's basically a woody mulch is what it is, and the bottom is, you know, this nice looking dirt. I mean, that's really nice. It breaks up nice. It's got a lot of organic material. It's really breaking down great, and this bed actually stays pretty moist in between waterings. I take my little shovel and I'll dig down, and once you get beyond this top layer of woody material, you get down into some really good soil that seems to stay moist. I water this about once a week, and the last time I put 2 inches on, but I usually put about 1 inch of water on. So I've had a few problems. You can see that I've got some grass laying down there. I've had problems with weeds, and I think that the reason for that is I only overlapped the cardboard about 6 inches, and the weeds have been able to come through and work their way up. You know how tenacious weeds are. So I would recommend, if somebody was to do this, to add 6 inches to the overlap. So you want 1 foot to maybe even 18 inches of overlap, and that should keep the weeds down. Another problem I've had is these squashes here. I had some problems with yellowing of the leaves, presumably from nitrogen deficiency, as the woody material was breaking down in the beginning. So I've actually I had some fertilizer. You know, I like to do things organic, but I have fertilizer from the time when I didn't do everything organic. And I'm all for, you know, if you have something and you've purchased it, you know, maybe you're organic now, but you have fertilizer from back when, you know, I'm certainly not against using it. It's better than letting it go to waste on the shelf. But I had about 1 ounce of nitrogen pellets that I put across the garden in 2 separate sprinklings. So realistically, I think, you know, that's a very light fertilizing, but it was enough to get these squashes up out of the ground and to get them rolling, and their roots deep enough to where they could find some food. And also, you know, as I said, this stuff is broken down. Now on this end of the bed, it didn't get mixed as well from the very beginning, if you recall. When I dug down in it, it was a lot of pine needles. And now, if I can dig down, you can see immediately you get down below the surface and it turns black. It's still quite a bit of pine needles, but it's already broken down some, and the dirt's black down there. I've actually fertilized around this area, around the squashes, with a mixture of chicken poop and pine shavings, which I used for bedding for the baby chicks as they were growing up. And I spread it in between the plants, okay, trying to keep it a little distance from the plants so that they don't burn or have contact with it for the first few days. And that perked these plants up really well. Under normal circumstances, almost everybody recommends that you let chicken poop compost first, but because it's so strong in nitrogen, but because of the woody material in here and the fact that it was mixed with pine shavings, I knew that I'd be safe, and it's benefited the plants. You certainly wouldn't want to put the chicken poop anywhere where there's plants that you're going to want to consume anything from in the next, I would say, 7 days. UV light will break down those germs in that amount of time, but chicken poop does have salmonella, I believe, almost all the time, so something to consider. So anyway, this is how this bed's doing, and obviously some successes. Brussels sprouts there. You can see I've got a little bit of the root crop, and this little one right here is okra, and I have my various squashes. And in this bare spot, I'm certainly not going to let that sit there. I've got some zucchini that I'm going to pop in there, and hopefully it'll take off and survive. So that's my update, and hopefully I haven't forgotten anything. And happy growing.